Hey guys, my name is Mike and this is my introduction to stop motion animation. So today guys, we're going to be working with Lego, and Lego is a really good material for making stop motion animation because you have the ability to move Lego one stud at a time. Everything comes in miniature form and you really don't need a whole lot of Lego to be able to make a stop motion animation. But that being said, the more Lego you have, the more options you have for making animation. One important thing to learn before you make your Lego animation is how to make these Lego characters walk. Because if you can make your Lego character walk, it opens up a whole load of possibilities for your story. So today I'll be showing you a basic walk, I'll be showing you a standard walk, and I'm also going to show you a fully animated walk. And the only difference between the three is we'll be adding one extra step every time. Following on from that guys, we're going to be making a short animation and I'm going to show you guys how to build your own miniature set. And once your animation is recorded, we're going to bring it into InShot video editing app and I'm going to show you guys how to add sound to your video. What you need to follow this exercise guys is you will need a Lego character. So I'm going to be using Sheriff Rick here. But you can use any character you want. The only thing I'll say is make sure that the legs and arms aren't too loose or stiff because that can make it very difficult to animate with. And you'll also need one of these guys, these Lego base plates. If you don't have a base plate, don't worry, you might have the Lego and you could always make your own platform to animate on. And we're also going to be making a background with some coloured craft paper as well, but don't worry if you don't have it because you can make your background however you like. So let's get into it guys, and we're going to start by getting our set ready for our walk cycles. So the first thing we're going to do guys is we're going to flip our base plate around and we're going to stick 9 equally sized pieces of blue tack on the back. Then we're going to press the base plate down onto the table, and you could also use a book to push it down. And then we're going to place the device on the set, and you can see I'm using the Lego holder that I made in the last episode, and we're just going to blue tack each corner of that as well so it stays still. So this set is ready now for our walk cycles, and I have my character in place, and I also made this little footpad for him as well, which is really handy when it comes to practicing walk cycles. And of course I have my headphones plugged in for taking pictures, and I have the button rested on some clay as well, which makes pressing the shutter button a lot easier. Okay, so the first thing we're going to get moving is his legs. So take one picture of him standing up straight, then we're going to move his right leg forward and we're going to take a picture. Next we're going to move his whole body one stud forward and we're going to put his arms and legs back in the center and then take a picture. So now we're going to repeat the same process but with his left leg. We're going to put his left leg forward and then we're going to take a picture, and then we're going to move him up one stud and put everything back in the center and then take another picture. And now we've completed the cycle. And that's effectively it guys. We're just going to repeat that process until our character has reached the end of the footpad. This will probably take a few attempts the first time of trying, but keep practicing until you find a rhythm. Okay, and let's see how that looks. So his legs look okay, but his hands down by his side is not very convincing. It actually looks like he's marching. So we need to get them hands moving next. The thing to remember when animating arms in a walk sequence is that your right arm follows your left leg, and your left arm follows your right leg. So my character's right leg is forward here, and you can see I have his left arm forward as well. And then we're going to take a picture. So what I do when I'm animating the character's arms is I just focus on the character's legs, and from that will inform me where his hands need to be. As you can see here where I put the character's left leg forward, so that tells me I have to put his right arm forward. So now we're going to repeat this process until the character has walked all the way across. And we're using the same movements for the legs as the last one, guys. We're just adding the arms this time. So let's see how that looks. So that's the basic walk, guys, and as I said, it probably takes a few goes to get the rhythm for it, but once you feel confident enough with it, then you're ready to try the standard walk. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing here, guys, but we're going to be adding one extra step, which is this next one right here. When we move the character forward a stud, we're going to leave a leg trailing behind, which in this case is his left leg. Take our picture, and now we can put our character's arms and legs back in the center and take a picture. And now we're going to repeat the exact same thing with the other leg, and continue until our character has reached the end of the path. By adding this trailing leg picture to your walk cycle, it will make a huge difference. And all you're doing is adding one extra picture to the basic walk sequence. Let's see how it looks. So this is a pretty good walk cycle for making animation. But if you've mastered this walk, there is one extra step we can add to take this to the next level. So it's the exact same as before. We're going to put the leg forward, take a picture, but instead of going straight down onto the next stud, we're going to try and balance his feet in between the two studs, so he's not actually in either of them, and look something like this. So now we just carry on as normal, and we're going to add that same picture when animating the right leg. So let's see how that looks. And you can see by adding that one extra picture to our walk cycle that our walk is a lot more fluent. This one is tricky, guys, and you definitely want to master the first two walks before attempting this. But the results are pretty good. So now we're going to make a Lego animation to show off our new walk cycle. And we're going to start by designing our set. So I'm going to put my base plates down. And I'm using two here, but to be honest with you, one would be more than enough. I'm also going to stick this A1 size blue sheet of paper on the back. This will act as my blue sky background. So rather than rooting through your entire box of Lego every time you're looking for a piece, just get a smaller box containing all the pieces you think you might use. Like here where I was looking for a lot of earthy colours, so I got all my different types of greens and browns. So now I'm going to build a little set for my characters. And I have this idea for my character to walk through this door and come out the other door. So I'm kind of playing around with that concept right now. The most important thing here, guys, is that I'm actually looking through my iPad the whole time while I'm building this set, because it only matters what the set looks like through the camera. That's the most important thing. And now we're going to create our background, starting with some clouds. So there's a few different ways we can do clouds. One way is getting some cotton wool, pulling it apart to resemble clouds, then fold some sellotape onto itself and use that to stick the cloud to the blue sky background. Or you could always just draw some clouds on some white paper, and if you cut that large excess paper off first, your cloud will be a much easier piece to cut. And as always, guys, be very careful when using scissors. Make sure you're using a safety scissors, and if you're under the age of 6, you should definitely be getting an adult to help you with this part. And finally, just stick it down with some blue tack. Another cool way is to actually paint the clouds. First, we're going to round off the corner of this sponge using some scissors. And now, very lightly, using a very small bit of white paint on the sponge, we're going to mark out where our clouds are going to be. And now we're going to highlight these clouds. So we're putting a lot more white paint on the sponge this time, and we're just going to dab the parts of the clouds that are the brightest. And we can see I have the sun there in the corner, and because that's in the top right hand corner, I know that the top right hand corner of the clouds is where it's going to be the brightest. And if you want to, you can always get a brush and load up the paint on the brush and just highlight them white areas even more. Next, we're going to make some mountains for our background. So I've got 3 different color greens here, stacked from lightest to darkest. So we could do this a few different ways, or we could use like round shaped mountains, but for this demonstration I'm going to be using pointy shaped mountains. and I'm going to draw roughly the same shape on each one, but not the exact same. It's just a similar pattern. Then I'm going to cut each shape with a scissors. So the trick here is don't cut on the line, just use the line as a guide and try and stay inside. This way you avoid getting any pencil marks on your shape. And then we'll do the exact same thing with the other two shades of green. And when you put them together, it looks like mountains fading away into the distance. Using some small pieces of blue tack, we can bring these pieces together. So this is how the background will look on our set, guys. And when it's slightly out of focus, it will look more like this. So this is a nice fast way of making a background for your animation. So now let's place it back on our set. And we're going to add in a few other props as well, including this horse and cart. I also had this idea for a Lego river that I can rotate across the set during the animation, but I had no idea how this would work out. So rather than this going horribly wrong later and spoiling the rest of the animation, I'm going to do a little test first with just the river flowing animation. So let's see how that looked. The Lego animation looks good, but the problem is it's just too much work animating one brick at a time. So I made these 7 blocks of Lego instead, and they should be much easier to animate with while still having that same effect. As you can see, I can just shuffle them along a lot easier now. So I'll just do another quick test, and you can see every time a block has moved off the screen, I just pick it up, put it back to the start and continue animating. So that looks good, guys, and now we can move on. So I have a general idea for a storyline here, and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my character in all the different places where the actions might take place and then take a picture, just so I have a good idea of how it's going to look before I start making the animation. And also I'm thinking what way I'm going to create that action during the shoot. So we start here where the two characters wave and talk to each other. Then he's walking along, he picks up the flower, walks towards the door with the flower, opens the door, comes out the other door, he stands here and talks to the woman, the horse kicks him, he falls into the river, and then he floats away. A nice simple animation, guys. The important thing to remember is if one of the characters is talking in the animation, take loads of pictures of them and just move them slightly in between each picture, and that will make it look like the character is talking. So one final look at the set, guys, before we start. So now I open a new project on Stop Motion Studio and I begin shooting my animation. So this animation took me about 3 hours to shoot, guys, and I think it was about 450 pictures I took, which may sound like a lot for such a short animation, but I want to show you guys what you can achieve when you put quality above quantity. And remember, guys, if you have a second device as well, you could always put that in the corner and record yourself making the animation, and then shorten that video down to just a few seconds, similar to what I've done here. And it's always a cool way to show your friends or family how you actually made the animation. So there you have it, guys, and let's see how that looks. Okay, so the animation looks pretty good, but there's something missing here, guys, and it's something very important, and that is the sound. So now I've saved my video from Stop Motion Studio onto my device, and we're going to open this app here. It's called InShot. Then we're going to tap on Video. Then we're going to tap on New and bring in our animation. So first we select Canvas, which is here, and then we're going to select No Frame, and that's going to get rid of that blurred frame around our video. Right, so this is InShot. InShot is a video editing app, and there's some really cool things you can explore with here that will help take your video to the next level. But we're just going to be focused on this one for today, guys. Music. As you can see, we have 3 different options here, and the first one we're going to look at is effects. And there's loads of different sound effects here to choose from. So if we go into footsteps, which is the sound effect we're going to be using when our character is walking, and there's a few different ones to choose from here. Same if we go into animals, there's loads of different animal sounds to choose from. There's applause, if you want to give yourself a round of applause. And these are some of the more popular ones. So we'll go into birds here, and birds are great for background noises. So if you want to choose one, we just hit use. So then it will bring us back to our timeline and we can see our sound effect right there. So if we hit play, you can hear the sound effect playing over our animation. So we can also make some edits to the sound effect, like this one here, which will split the sound effect wherever we leave that white line. So now I have 2 sound clips, and if I hit delete, it's gone. And I'll do the same thing here to delete that space in the middle. You can also move these audio clips around by holding down on them for a second. You have 4 different layers to choose from, and you can also zoom in and out using your 2 fingers. So if we highlight this audio clip and hit edit, which is up here, and then this screen will appear. And here you can also edit your sound effect. You can adjust the volume, but it also allows you to fade your audio at the start and at the end, which can be really handy at times. And now our sound effect will play much lower and sound like it's in the background of our animation. Okay, so now we're going to delete these 2, and I want to show you this other feature which is called record. And here we can record our voice straight onto the timeline, and it will go wherever you place that white line. So first it gives you a countdown from 3, and you're good to go. Testing, testing. And if you're happy with it, you just hit that tick. And then we'll give that a play just to show you. Testing, testing. And that's it, guys. You can also access whatever music or sound effects you have saved to your device by going to My Music. And here I have some pre-recorded voiceovers I got some kids to do for me earlier.
Hey!
And I just recorded them using the voice recorder I have on my device. So this can be a great way to get other people involved in your work. I think everyone has that one friend who would be good at doing voiceovers. But be sure to write a little script first so they know exactly what you want them to say. So I want to place this audio clip right when the girl is waving and says, hey. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'll keep moving this white line left to right until I find that exact moment where she's waving, which is somewhere around here. So now I'll hold my audio clip for a second, and then I'll bring it over to meet that white line. So let's see how that looks.
Hey!
Okay, so you get the idea. And now I'm going to do the same thing, placing all my other voiceovers the whole way across the timeline until I get to the end of the animation.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over.
And when I hit play,
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over. Whoa, 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 where's your mask, mister?
I don't need no mask.
Ah! Ha ha ha.
okay, so the next thing, guys, is our sound effects. And we'll start with footsteps. So we're going to do the same thing here, guys. We're going to hit use, we're going to drop it on our timeline, and we're only going to use this sound effect when our character is walking.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
And if our sound effect is too long for certain parts, we can just cut it and delete the excess. And I put a little fade on this audio clip as well, just so it looks like he's walking into the scene. And I'll do the same thing a whole way across the timeline now with all the footsteps, just trying to get it on that exact moment when my character is walking. So let's see how that looks with the footsteps.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Where's your mask, mister?
I don't need no mask.
Okay, so now that the voiceovers and the footsteps are done, it's time to include the rest of my sound effects, which include doors opening, doors closing, the horse, a kicking sound, and a splash sound when he hits the water. So pay attention to the video as we play it back this time, guys, and try and spot the sound effects on the timeline just before they come on.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Where's your mask, mister?
I don't need no mask.
Ha ha
We
ha!
can see that our timeline is kind of full with all our audio now, but we still haven't put in our background sounds yet. So what we can do is, we can go up to the top right hand corner here and save the video, save it as 1080p, and then we're going to open that save video in a new InShot project. So now our sound effects and our voiceovers are saved to this video, but now our timeline is totally clear.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help?
So let's start by adding some music. We'll hit use so it goes onto our timeline. I'll turn the volume on this sound clip all the way down to 3%. One of the most important things about background noise, guys, is adjusting the volume. It has to be really low. Next, we're going to add my flowing river sound, which sounds like this. And I'll also put that sound down to 3% volume.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over.
And the last sound I'll be putting in is this one here. It's just the sound of birds chirping. And that's it, guys. Now we'll just go up to the top right hand corner again, save our video, and let's see.
Hey! Hey! Can you please help me? Sure, I'll be right over. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Where's your mask, mister?
I don't need no mask.
Ha ha ha!
So that's going to be it for this video, guys, and hopefully this gave you a good understanding of how useful Lego can be when making stop motion animation. And you don't have to try and replicate my animation either, guys. You can make any story you want, and it can take place anywhere you like. Like, it might take place in a house, it could take place in a city, or if you have a lot of white Lego, you could even make a whole snow-covered set. It's entirely up to you, guys, and dependent on what Lego you have. A good tip, guys, at the start is to separate all your Lego by colour, and also put all your characters together as well. And just stand back, look at what you have, and see what kind of story might form. Be sure to practice those walk cycles first, guys, because once you find your rhythm, it will make your animation so much easier to shoot, and it will look really cool. So it's definitely worth practicing. The InShot video editing app has a lot of other really cool features as well, guys. That's definitely worth exploring and playing around with. But we were just focused on the sound today because that's the most important one for us. So a good tip when you're making sound, guys, is to make 3 lists. First list is just all your voiceovers. So these are the things the characters are going to be saying in your animation. The second list is whatever sound effects that you might want. And then a third list for those really low background noises that we've done at the end. So when you're finished your animation on Stop Motion Studio, you should actually sit down and watch it over and over and just think about all the different sounds that you might want in your animation and just add them to them 3 lists. Like if it's in a city, you might hear traffic in the background. Or if it's in the middle of nowhere, you might hear just the wind blowing in the background. You should try and gather as much of these sound clips as you can before opening InShot. And remember guys, if you're struggling to get a sound effect, you could always record your own sound effect straight onto your tablet or device using Voice Recorder, just in case you can't source them from anywhere else. On the next episode guys, we're going to be doing some model making. I'm going to be showing you the various different types of clays that we can use for stop motion animation, and we'll be also looking at some other materials as well. Thanks for watching guys, take care and stay safe.